For 6 days, it was a game. A child's curiosity, left on the seat of a Harley. Notes for a man who'd forgotten how to play. Simple drawings. A smiley face. A question. For Jake Solo Harrison, they were an annoyance. Then a routine. Then something else. But the 7th note, the last one, wasn't a game. It wasn't a drawing. It was a 5-word plea, written in shaky crayon, and it would bring an entire motorcycle club to its knees. This is the story of how a little boy's whisper became a roar. This story is a fictional narrative. It's about how heroes show up when a child is in need, and how sometimes the toughest-looking people have the most to give. They called him Solo, for a reason. Jake Harrison's life was the rumble of his engine, the weight of his leather, and the quiet of his apartment. He didn't ask for company, and he didn't offer it. His name wasn't just a name. It was a wall. The first note showed up on a Monday, a page from a coloring book, tucked under the clutch lever, a wobbly drawing of a motorcycle. Jake stared at it, annoyed. He crumpled it up and tossed it. Day 2, another one. Lined paper. Inside, in a kid's clumsy print. Is it fast? Jake almost smiled. He didn't know why. This time, he didn't throw it away. He put it in his jacket pocket. Wednesday. A drawing of a big, muscular guy next to a bike. Below it, one word. Strong. Jake looked at the cartoon version of himself. He'd been called intimidating, dangerous, cold. But strong. This felt different. Like admiration. That night, he left a small piece of candy on the seat. The next morning, the candy was gone. The note in its place stopped him cold. Do you get lonely? The question hit him. Hard. Lonely? He hadn't used that word in a decade. He was alone. That was a choice. But lonely? The question stuck with him all day. He had no answer. He left nothing. Friday's note was a drawing of a small red tricycle. One wheel was broken off. Next to it, a stick figure with a downturned mouth. No words. None were needed. Jake understood. He found himself scanning the windows of the nearby buildings, looking for the kid. He saw no one. By Saturday, the 6th day, the ritual was the one thing he looked forward to. The note was waiting. I wish you were my friend. Jake read the words. The wall around his heart cracked. For the first time, he wrote back. On the back of the note, he scribbled 2 words. Me too. He left it on the seat, weighed down by a polished river stone. He'd carried that stone for years. A piece of a day he tried to forget. Leaving it there felt like leaving a piece of his old life behind. The simple exchange was the calm before the storm. The final note was coming. And it wouldn't be about friendship. It would be a cry for help. Sunday. Jake walked to his bike. He saw the note from a distance, under the stone. It looked different. Crumpled, like it had been clenched in a fist. He picked it up. The paper was damp. Tear stains. He unfolded it. No drawing. Just 5 words in a shaky, fading blue crayon. My mom cries. I'm scared. And below that, a plea that shattered Jake's world. Can you help? The air left his lungs. The street went quiet. He read the words again. And again. My mom cries. I'm scared. Can you help? This wasn't a game anymore. It was a flare shot up in the dark. The loneliness, the broken trike, the wish for a friend, it all clicked. The kid wasn't just admiring a biker. He was looking for someone strong. Jake's hands started to shake. A cold fury mixed with a protective instinct he thought was long dead. His past rushed back. The son he couldn't protect. He had failed once. He would not fail again. This wasn't just a boy in trouble. This was his chance. He looked up at the apartment buildings, his eyes burning. The silence was over. The routine was broken. Solo was about to live up to his club's name, the Iron Sentinels. He was about to become a guardian. He didn't know who the boy was. He didn't know where he lived. But he knew one thing. He was going to find him. And he wasn't going to do it alone. The biker's world just changed forever. He's about to make a call that will set an unstoppable force in motion. If you believe stories like this restore your faith in humanity, smash that subscribe button. You don't want to miss what happens next. The ride to the Iron Sentinel's clubhouse was a blur. The engine screamed, matching the storm in Jake's soul. He blew through red lights. He burst through the doors of the clubhouse, and the place went silent. Every head turned. Solo never burst in. For him to enter like that, something was wrong. Prez. Jake's voice was gravel. I need you. Bear, the club president, was a mountain of a man. He saw the look in Jake's eyes, a haunted fire he hadn't seen in 10 years, and motioned him to the back room. Jake laid the 7 notes on the oak table, in order: the drawing, the questions, the broken tricycle, and the final tear-stained plea. Bear read each one. His face turned to stone. Who is he, Jake? Bear's voice was a low rumble. I don't know, Jake admitted. He leaves them on my bike. He has to be in one of those buildings. Bear stared at the final note. My mom cries. I'm scared. The words hung in the air. He led Jake back out to the main room, note in hand. We've got a problem, Bear announced. Silence. He held up the note. This came from a little boy. We don't know his name. We don't know his face. But he's scared. And he's asking us for help. What are we supposed to do, Bear? One of the younger members asked. Kick down every door in the neighborhood? No, Bear said, his gaze sweeping the room. We're not going to kick down any doors. We're going to be who this kid thinks we are. He drew a picture of Jake and called him strong. He thinks we're the good guys. He paused. For years, people have looked at us and seen monsters. But this kid, he looks at us and sees heroes. I'll be damned if we prove him wrong. He turned to Jake. You said there was a drawing of a broken tricycle? Jake nodded. Then that's how we find him, Bear declared. We're not looking for trouble. We are going on a hunt for a broken red tricycle. Spread out. 2-man teams. Check every alley, every backyard, every porch in a 6-block radius. No vests, no noise. We're ghosts. You see anything? You call it in. We just find him. The debate was over. A new energy filled the room. A focused, silent determination. A child had called for a guardian. The hunt was on. It took less than an hour. A call came over the radio. Bear, I think I've got it. 3rd floor balcony, apartment 3B, building on Elm. It's a little red trike, and one of the wheels is broken right off. The plan was simple. This wasn't about force. It was about support. Bear's orders were clear. No aggression. No intimidation. First, a mechanic named Grease went to a toy store. He didn't just buy a new tricycle. He bought the best one they had. Next, a few men went to a grocery store, filling multiple carts. Another group pooled their money, a quiet collection that filled a thick envelope. Then, they came. It started as a distant rumble. It grew, until the air on Elm Street vibrated. One by one, 30 motorcycles turned onto the quiet block. They rolled in slow, respectful. They parked in a perfect, silent line, a steel honor guard. The men cut their engines. Profound silence. Doors opened, curtains pulled back. Jake and Bear walked to the front of Building 3B. Grease carried the new tricycle. 2 other large bikers had their arms loaded with groceries. The rest of the club stood by their bikes. Silent, watchful, a fortress. Bear knocked on the door, a gentle knock. After a moment, the door opened a crack. A young woman with tired, fearful eyes peered out. She saw Bear and Jake. Her face went pale. Behind her, a small boy clutched her leg. It was him. Jake knew it instantly. Ma'am, Bear's voice was soft. We're not here to cause trouble. My name is Bear. This is Jake. A little bird told us your son might have a broken-down vehicle. Grease placed the shiny new tricycle by the door. The boy's eyes went wide. The woman, Sarah, just stared. I don't understand, she whispered. Jake knelt to the boy's level. He pulled out the crumpled note, the one that said, "I wish you were my friend." He held it out to the boy. "Leo, I believe this is yours," Jake said, his voice thick. "I brought my answer." Leo looked from the note to Jake's face. A slow, brilliant smile spread across his own. Just then, an angry voice yelled from inside. "Sarah, who is that? Get them out of here!" The man, the source of the fear, appeared, scrawny, posturing. He took one look at Bear and Jake, then his eyes flickered past them to the street below. He saw it. 30 silent bikers, a wall of leather and steel. An army. The color drained from his face. Bear didn't raise his voice. He looked straight at the man. "It seems to me," he said calmly, "that this lady and her son could use some peace and quiet. And it looks like you were just about to leave." It wasn't a question. It was a statement of fact. The man sputtered, looked at Sarah, then back at the mountain in front of him. He scrambled for a jacket, pushed past them, and ran down the stairs. The iron sentinels didn't move. They just watched him go. Their silence was a more powerful threat than any shout. He didn't look back. When they looked back at the doorway, Sarah was weeping. Not tears of fear, tears of relief. Leo ran from behind her, straight to Jake, and wrapped his arms around the biker's neck. And that was the moment that broke them. The tough, grizzled, hardened men of the Iron Sentinels. Jake held the small boy, burying his face in his shoulder to hide his own tears. Bear turned away, wiping at his eyes. Down on the street, men who had faced down rival clubs and prison yards sniffled and cleared their throats. They had come to be strong. They were undone by the hug of a little boy who had finally found his friend. The man's departure was the beginning. The bikers didn't just leave. They swarmed the apartment with a quiet kindness. Groceries were put away. One of the bikers, who owned a landscaping business, started cutting the overgrown grass. Another, an electrician, noticed a flickering light in the hallway and fixed it. They found Sarah's old car with its flat tire. Half an hour later, the tire was changed, the oil was checked, the engine ran smoothly. They didn't speak much. They just worked. An army of helpers. Jake stayed with Leo. They sat on the front steps. The boy rang the bell on his new tricycle, a cheerful, victorious sound. Jake taught him how to work the pedals, his big, calloused hands guiding Leo's small feet. He wasn't solo anymore. He was Jake, a friend. Sarah watched them. She told Bear her story. A single mother, working 2 jobs, worn down by a man who controlled and isolated her. She had felt trapped. "I didn't know what to do," she said. "Leo, I didn't know he understood how bad it was. I never thought anyone would help." "Well, you've got help now," Bear said. He handed her the envelope of cash. "This is from the boys. For a fresh start." He gave her a card with his number. "For anything else. You and Leo are family now, and the Iron Sentinels protect their family." As the sun set, the bikers finished. The apartment was clean, the fridge was full. They started to leave as quietly as they came. Each one walked past Leo and gave him a nod or a smile. The little boy, no longer scared, beamed at his army. Jake was the last to leave. He knelt in front of Leo. "I'll be back to check on you tomorrow, okay, buddy?" Leo nodded, his eyes shining. "Okay. Will you take me for a ride one day?" Jake's smile was real. "The first one in a decade. You bet I will." He walked to his Harley, feeling a wholeness he thought was lost forever. He rode out that morning as solo. He was riding home as Jake. That day, 30 tough bikers showed up. Not with chains, but with a tricycle and groceries. They didn't start a fight. They ended a reign of fear. They proved that strength isn't how hard you can hit, but how much you're willing to help. A little boy named Leo, with a crumpled piece of paper, did more than just save his mom. He saved a lonely man. And he gave an entire motorcycle club a new reason to ride. He reminded them their name, the Iron Sentinels, was more than a patch. It was a promise. The bond between Leo and the Iron Sentinels was just beginning. They became his uncles, his protectors, his family. Stories like this remind us that family isn't always about blood. It's about the people who show up. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe for more content that shows the best of humanity. And we want to hear from you in the comments below. What does the word family mean to you? Share your thoughts. Until next time, ride safe and look out for one another.